Okay, here's our next artwork. This is also by Titian. This is the Assumption of the Virgin, and it's the main altarpiece at Santa Maria Gloriosa de Ferrari. It's a church in Venice. Now, what's interesting about this piece is that he had become an apprentice to Bellini, and he had been commissioned to do this, and after this commission, he is set as the lead painter of Venice. Now, in that time, Giorgione died and Bellini died. Bellini didn't die of a plague, old age. He had a great, successful career. But this puts Titian on the map. So, what do we have here? We have the moment when the Virgin Mary has died and is absorbed into heaven, body and soul. We see the mourners, followers of Christ, who are mourning over her body as they react to the fact that the heavens above have burst forth and this massive cloud filled by angels is carrying the Virgin Mary up to be greeted by God. To give you a sense of scale, this is its setting. It's 23 feet tall, and it sits at the back of the church. The church is done in this beautiful Venetian Gothic style, and all of those fantastic windows, you see them? They let in this blazing light, and the altarpiece seems to continue that light. And just like how the altarpiece has this bursting of heaven's light, we see it almost behind the altarpiece or echoed behind in those windows. Now, I will also tell you that there is a delicious gelato place right behind here. If you were to walk around the church to the back, right on this side of the church, there's this tiny little gelato place. Delicious. So, to give you a sense of how big this church is, here we are standing at the back or the entrance of the church looking towards the high altar. We're looking through a choir screen, and on either side are altars. Now we'll come back and look at one of these. Notice in this composition what Titian's doing here. We have three planes of existence. We have earth, we have heaven, and then hovering in the middle is the Virgin Mary. Now, this is not typical of what we see in the high Italian Renaissance or the early Italian Renaissance, because there's really not a lot of perspective. Linear perspective? No. Atmospheric perspective? No. But the light, and that light and color of the chiaroscuro, and there's gesture. Look at the gestures here. The gestures are of reaction. We see the men, here they are, and they're all in a state of awe as she rises up. Everybody's looking up, everybody's reaching up. And I just love, I don't have a detail of him, darn it. This guy here, let me just go up again. This guy here, his back to us. We've seen that before. Remember, Giotto did that with the Lamentation. He gave us the back as a way to make us be part of this moment, right? We're like, what's going on? Whoa! Those figures on the floor or on the ground in earth, they're life-size figures. So we see them and they are us. They're the same size as us, and they're doing the same kind of, I love this guy. Because look at this. I'm going to put my tool up here. Look. He's reaching up and his fingertips are barely touching those heavenly clouds. It's so close. Look at this little angel's about to bop this guy in the head with his big toe. Oh, the moment is happening right here in front of us. And to carry us through, we follow their line of sight. We follow their gestures. Look how this man here, the one that has his back to us, we follow the line from the back of his right leg up through his body, out his left fingertips. Oh, it's this very clever play of a balance of opposites, isn't it? A little contrapposto-ish, maybe? Now we follow their line of sight, as gesture would tell us, and we see the Virgin Mary. And then she, her arms outstretched, she's looking up. So we follow her line of sight, which leads up to Jesus, or to God. And then God, he's rushing down and he's looking down at all of us. So we get this kind of waterfall up and down, up and then down. What this does is it creates this cascade, this rise and fall, this rise, and we hover right in the middle, right with the Virgin Mary. Let's do a detail of her. Look at her. So she's hovering on this cloud, and our eye line keeps hovering around her. We are being pulled up and floating in this space. Now, the clouds, they're beautiful. They're thick and heavy, and they can hold this full-bodied woman. And look at her feet. You see that? Her feet are in this twist, one leg over the other, and then her mantle is just whipping around her. It's like she's in a dance almost, a celebratory dance. But that makes sense because the Assumption of the Virgin is placed in the church called Santa Maria Gloriosa de Ferrari. Okay, we'll talk about the De Ferrari. Santa Maria, Saint Mary. Oh, her, Virgin Mary. Gloriosa, in glory. So we see a glorious woman, and she's in this fantastic celebratory dance as she rises body and soul. De Ferrari means of the friars. It's for this church, and it is dedicated by this sect of monks. So Santa Maria Gloriosa de Ferrari. Look at the chiaroscuro. Look at the light. Look at the whipping of the wind over God as he comes down to take the Virgin Mary up to heaven. It's just fantastic. And that golden light bursts through. It's hypnotizing. We have this circular effect of heaven. You see that? And then it's balanced by the rectangular effect of earth. Circles and squares, the circles of heaven and the squares of earth. So we have a balance of opposites. Balance, harmony, logic, reason, Vitruvius. This is a Renaissance. It's Venetian. It's not going to give us that big middle ground with the linear perspective, but it still carries chiaroscuro, still carries gesture, it still carries balance of opposites. It's beautiful. Now, our next work of art we're going to look at, it's over here.